Maybe we could talk a little bit about the Oxford Media School. You
Right.
had an idea to start a school,
Yeah, correct.
and you decided. Now, where did that come from? This idea for a school because you loved kids or teaching or what?
I think that's exactly right. I love teaching, so I thought, why don't we start a school I advertised in the New York Times, and pretty soon we started to get students.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, we reached 40 students.
No, wasn't it 30, 28 or something? I think it was 28 was the number.
Oh no, we were higher than that. And I know for sure we were 40.
No, I didn't think so. Maybe that's how much you owed.
Nearly 40.
But
No, I think we were up to that. And I said we'll stop at 40. And at that point, God punished me, and we went down till we reached 8 students. Yeah. At that point, we had to quit.
Yeah, but it was a good run. 13 years isn't bad for a school.
Yeah,
right? 13 good years. 2 with Blythe. And that was over a 14-year period because we did 2 with Blythe. We took a year off because they didn't run the program.
That's right.
Then you took it over.
That's right.
And ran it yourself.
And I must say, you were a very big part of that school. Very big.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a whole team of us.
Yeah.
Right, Nick and Silva. Charlie was involved with the school. Tim Richards, right?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people and lots of students. Speaking that, I was in Maine. I was talking to Jordan Flack this week. He says hello.
Oh, really?
Do you remember Jordan?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Jordan and his father. So
What were you doing in Maine?
Oh, I was on the phone with him.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
he was going to Maine.
Oh,
He
yeah,
phoned
yeah.
me from his
Oh, what
car.
a great guy.
Yeah,
We had great students. We really did. Really wonderful
yeah,
students.
and some great years there, and some good
Yeah.
people over there. Simon,
Yeah.
remember Simon?
Simon, yeah.
That-
What a New College was inspiration.
Tell me a little bit about New College. Who else was there? There was Simon and Karen.
Simon and Karen.
Who was your scout? Do you remember?
No, we had several scouts over the years.
Mary or
Mary Buswell.
Mary Buswell.
Yeah,
Remember Mary?
yeah.
And who was our other good friend over there? Caroline.
Oh, Caroline Thomas, who was the bursar, and remains the bursar.
Yeah.
It's still the boss.
And then there was the porters.
Yeah, we had a bunch of
Tom,
those.
the head porter.
Tom was great.
And then there was...
In Britain, porters mean something. They, when you get in trouble, you have to see the porter. And if you get into too much trouble, you face the penalty of being thrown out of Oxford.
Not in a dungeon or something.
No.
Just, yeah. So there was the porters and Robin. Do you remember Robin, the original porter?
Yeah, Robin was absolutely... Robin had been in World War II and had an amazing life in the military. A lot of people who work at the colleges have a military background. I guess that's for discipline, which is needed in colleges where when you go to leave high school and go to university, it's a time for having a lot of fun as well as getting a degree.
Yeah.
But in Britain, especially when you belong to one of the great colleges like New College, it's an extraordinary experience, a totally extraordinary experience. And you were there with me, teaching there in the summertime for us. It was just magnificent.
Yeah.
And I think we helped so many young people who, in their various ways, have never forgotten New College.
Yeah. You wrote a line once in one of those Brideshead Revisited. Do you remember we do that?
Yeah.
Every year we did for the news class, we do the Shark House, very popular.
Right.
And we did a bunch of different things. Will Widger did a thing on teeth, British teeth, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
But there was that whole thing on Brideshead.
Yeah.
And you wrote a line, I'm sure you wrote it, 1,000 years of summer. Do you remember that? 1,000 years of summer. Or maybe that was Evelyn Waugh. Maybe it was his writing.
I don't know.
I had been there before.
Oh no, it's a quote from.
Oh, so you didn't write it because it's.
No, I think it's a quote from Somerset Maugham.
High over her gables and cupolas.
Yeah.
Does that sound like something you'd write?
Can't remember.
What about the moving hand having writ?
Yeah, and moves on.
Was that you that wrote that?
No, that's another point. I was, from my university years. When I was at Oxford, I became a key player in the poetry society.
Really?
Yeah, but
Give us a little ditty about, say, Jack and Diane. Do you have a poem or something you can tell us? Something you remember?
No.
Roses are red.
Violets are blue, but that's a more limerick.
A goofy thing.
And you have to be careful because people spin that into various vulgarisms.
Oh, okay, there you go. I've only heard funny ones. I guess
Yeah.
we travel in different circles. So, do you write poetry?
No, I tried, that was when I was at Cambridge, for my degree, and which I didn't actually get my degree in. I
Physics or something?
changed subjects, but I was a member of the Poetry Society, and I still enjoy poetry.
Did that make you popular with the ladies? Member of the Poetry Society?
Yeah,
Or did you
it
get beat up?
could have. I don't know. Could have been.
Now, how about the Fisher lady? Did you ever read her poetry?
Who?
Your wife, Mary Elena.
I don't think she wrote poetry.
Did you write poetry for her?
Probably not.
Okay, make up a poem about this picture. Roses are red, violets are blue.
It's time to go, and so must you.
What about let's go fishing and sniff some glue?
Yeah.
So the story with Oxford. So we were there, and we were there for 13 summers. New College was a fantastic place to be.
Really?
Very great place.
Yeah.
The Mound. Do you remember the Mound?
Yeah.
And you had the great room.
Yeah.
And you shared you shared the washroom link with Jen Carter for the first few years.
Yeah, that's right.
In those early days
Yeah.
of Blythe years. And Gary O'Meara, do you remember him?
Yeah, very well.
Good guy. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, really
Gary
good.
O'Meara was a terrific leader.
It was altogether a very great experience, and that's the nice thing about the nice thing about life is it constantly unfolds, and when you're down, which happens, you have a good friend, like I've got a good friend in Gary Gould, it bucks you up. You're lucky if you have beautiful children like I have, and they're a constant source of inspiration and joy, and I wouldn't miss a moment of it.
Well, I consider you a great friend. Love being your friend, Desmond. You're a great guy to get to know over the years. And you've had you talk about 1,000 years of summer. There's 1,000 great stories from you, and they're all different. They're all different. And then we had, there was Dave the barman. Do you remember Dave at New College?
Yes.
Yeah, you'd sit and talk with him for hours. And then there was quite a few. Lorraine, we loved Lorraine.
Yeah, Lorraine Kimmel.
Do you remember Lorraine?
Oh, Lorraine, yes,
She was
in the office, yeah.
Well, she worked in it. No, where did we meet Lorraine originally? Oh, she served in the dining hall.
Oh, that's right,
Then
yeah.
she left and she went to go work for Christchurch or some other college. I
Yeah.
can't remember which one.
Well, with 26 colleges, there's plenty of places to go.
I think there's more. I think it's
Yeah.
42 colleges.
Actually,
or
you're right, there's
12
30.
million or
I think
something.
they're around 30.
Yeah, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah.
So there's the New College years, and now did you enjoy teaching? Obviously,
Yeah, I really did.
because
Really did.
this year you taught with me at Ryerson. You came in and did some guest teaching. How did you like doing that?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
really loved it. I love teaching.
Good response on the students.
Yeah.
And your dream for just your writing future? Are you going to keep writing? You're writing a book now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your book.
It's essentially a walk through my life, all the places I've been, all the stories I've covered, the people I've met, the frights I've had, which you get when you least expect them, and the pleasures that come also out of the blue, which you're thankful for, and the friends you meet, amongst them my good friend Gary Gould.
My good friend Desmond
Good.
Smith. What about, tell me some of the highlights. I'll say, let's play a word association game. This is just off the cuff. This might not work, but we'll give it a try. So I'll say a word and you tell me what comes into your mind, okay?
Right.
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod is the children when we were young. We had tons of fun, and we had nothing to do but have fun. You've got water, you've got sunshine, you've got very interesting people around you, and paddling is one of the things you do when you're a kid, a baby, and it's nice when you're 30 or 40, or like me, 80, to paddle around a bit and then enjoy a swim.
Because you don't swim, do you? You don't know how to swim, do you?
I don't know. I know I sink actually. So I'm very careful in water not to get too deep. But
Would you go back into the ocean again?
yeah,
Swim?
definitely.
You'd go swimming, no
yeah,
problem?
definitely I would.
All right. So, and how long would you spend in Cape Cod, by the way?
We'd spend a month.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks. All right. I'll give you another one. So, Finland. Tell me, Finland. One word. As I say that, what comes in your mind when I say that? Finland.
Lakes,
Lakes.
forests. It's a big country, and if you're not careful, you'll fall in a lake, because I think just as we have roads, they have lakes.
Wow.
So it's a marvelous country. It's a marvelous country. I recommend it for anybody, but not in winter.
How about if I say Russia?
Russia, possibly the most fascinating country I've worked in. I've worked in various parts of Russia. Obviously I've worked in Moscow, the capital. I traveled, one of the best stories I did was to revisit Stalingrad, which is now Volgograd, where the Russians had their backs to the wall, and Stalin, the leader, said they could not retreat anymore. There was the Volga River, it's a huge river, was at their backs, and he said they couldn't cross that. They had to stay there and fight. And from that moment on, they fought, first yard by yard, then block by block, until they reached Moscow, and the war was over.
The war was over.
And at a cost of 10 million lives.
Wow, just a tragic thing.
Yeah.
Now, what about and you wrote a book about Russia.
Yeah, I did.
Montreal. What do you think of when I say Montreal?
I think of the right. Well, for one thing, my children were born there. For another, I thought I could remember the Olympics that were held in Montreal, and it was just a great city. It is a great city, with its ups and downs and roundabouts. And for another, I had a great job. Instead of being just in the news department, I ran the whole television station.
Kind of fun.
Drama and everything was involved. So of course I immediately stopped drama because it was costing $6,000 for a Saturday night drama.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of drama.
I had an audience of about nothing.
I bet there's a lot of drama when you.
But with that money, we managed to put it in the newsroom, and that was great.
Okay, what about New York City? What do you think of when I say that?
New York City is bustle and bustle, crime, beauty. It has all the contradictions that life is. It's a city that has been said to the point of cliche that never sleeps, and there are not very many moments when it gets quiet. It's really a wonderful place.
What about if I said the Plaza Hotel?
If you said what?
The Plaza. What do you think of when I say the Plaza Hotel?
Plaza was where I first took Mary Elena.
That was it.
My daughter's mother, yeah. It was great. I used to eat there a lot. I worked around the corner, and so it was just now today it would be incredibly expensive to do what I did then, but it was reasonably priced at that time.
Do you think if you didn't eat at the Plaza, you could have bought that place in Cape Cod years later?
Yeah, I could easily.
For the money you spent at the Plaza.
Yeah.
All right, let's say Mary Elena. What do you think of when I say that, her name?
Yeah, well, I think of my wife, and I think all the pleasures that we had. But the idea that I met her on a plane, and she was a stewardess, and then what was very funny was Mary Elena lived with at least 4 more stewardesses in a quite cramped apartment. Fortunately, most of them were on the road, so there was probably 2, 3 at the time would be home briefly. But the other thing I remember, going to pick up Mary Elena and take her out for dinner, there was like 20 guys waiting to take out their ladies, so you never knew who was on first.
Look at the time. So it was a funny time that.
That was a great time, yeah.
Now, where did she fly when she flew TWA?
She flew Pan American.
Oh, Pan American Airlines?
And Pan American was the first, one of the first great commercial airlines.
Pan Am, yeah.
Pan Am, one trip, it was a genius who thought he could make big time travel flying work, and in conjunction with Boeing, the aircraft manufacturer, they tailor-made planes for what became first a trickle, and then a flood, and then what we have today is just the normal way to move around.
Well, Pan Am's out of business. I know
Unfortunately,
you know that,
yeah.
Now, but her flight, when she flew, where would they fly? Like, she wasn't flying New York to Boston, I'm assuming. It must have been overseas all the time?
She'd fly, she'd fly to many places. But basically she was on the European route. Gary, they chose people who could speak a language. So clearly, for Pan Am, Mary Elena spoke fluent. Who was born with Finnish as a language, and she had a gift for language. So she spoke German, but several languages, of course, English.
Wow.
So yeah.
So she did well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if I said, CBC? What do you think of when I say CBC?
I think CBC is a Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Is a wonderful thing. They really don't have a Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in quite the same form in the United States.
You mean like a government run, because they wouldn't have a Canadian broadcasting.
Correct. Well, government supported, not government run.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like PBS is not quite the same as.
No, but again, another great operation. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you worked for them for a long time, so.
Not for PBS, but for
no,
CBS.
For CBS. No,
yeah.
Sorry, CBC. You worked for them, and now you've got a pension from them too.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, all right. What if I said tennis? What do you think of when I say tennis?
I miss it. I'm a very keen tennis player, but unfortunately, tennis, which was fabulous in the '60s, is not very it's not very popular today. I think I don't know. Bowling may be more popular than tennis. It's a sad thing to say. We have parks all over Toronto, and they're empty most of the time. They really are.
What if I said Don North's convertible?
Don North's convertible. Don North is a friend of mine in Montreal, and you'll probably get a copy of this tape. But they invited me over. A great friend from working in Vietnam together during the war, the Vietnam War, and he has a nice house, and he invited. He's very hospitable. And I remember going to a party with about 40 or 50 people, and the odd thing was, people went to the upstairs, one of the upstairs bedroom where the windows were lifted, and you hiked yourself through the window and stepped onto the roof of his garage. Only when 40 people were on the roof of his garage, the inevitable happened. And the floor fell.
The garage collapsed.
The roof collapsed, and we all landed in his convertible car with a ton of bricks. That was something.
But thankfully nobody was injured.
Yeah, that's right. Amazing, but true.
What if I said painted wood floors? What do you think of? New York.
No, Mary Elena, and when we had a house.
No, it wasn't Mary Elena. It was the artist, Kristen, wasn't it?
Oh, Kirsten, yes,
Kirsten.
my first wife, and she. I came home from some kind of a trip, and I opened the door to the apartment, and which was downstairs apartment, a 3-level house, and we rented the bottom room, which you went in, then there was a flight of steps going down, and then the floor, and then we shared the central grass at the back. But as I opened the door there on that night, and I started walking down the steps shouting, Kirsten, I'm home. I saw that instead of the parquet floor, I saw a white floor. And I said, Kirsten, are you home? She said, be careful. I've just painted the floor. I said, Kirsten, have you any idea what this is going to cost us? The management are going to go completely crazy. And she said, are you not interested in the art of it all? It looks much better than seeing wood. Anyway, it was, Gary, it was
How much did it cost you?
it cost a lot of money. And
No house in Cape Cod because of that, eh?
yeah, well, maybe that's true.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
But did it look good?
it did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Well, people don't appreciate when you paint over their wood, generally.
Several $1,000s. Good.
All right, so then we talk about that. What about Charlie? What if I say Charlie? What do you think of with Charlie?
My daughters.
Yeah.
I think the world of her. She's my left hand or right hand, whichever you want.
If you're left-handed, then it.
Yeah, and she's my left hand, and she's my right hand, depending. She's very kind, and she's brilliant artist in at least two disciplines. She makes great jewelry, and she's an excellent designer of that jewelry.
And those are traits from where do you think?
Finland.
You don't think you gave her those? You paint.
Oh, I
draw?
possibly, yeah.
Artistic? Is Nick
possibly.
artistic?
Yeah. Pardon?
Is Nick artistic as well?
Yeah, to a degree, I think he is.
He's
yeah.
a great editor. That's got to be from you, right?
Yeah, certainly.
You've seen his stuff, right? And photography, he's a good shooter. Does Charlie take pictures?
No.
Not a photographer.
No, not at all.
Mary Elena, was she a picture taker?
Not really, no, I don't think so.
Well, according to this book, we have about 12 pictures, so somebody's not taking pictures too many.
Me.
You are. These are.
Oh, I know, but who took those pictures? I
Well,
probably
you would
took them.
have take these ones, right? Of the
Yeah,
kids,
I
with
took
your
those.
Leica,
Yeah, I had a Leica.
a good camera.
Yeah.
Um,
And I had an Exacta.
so Charlie's artistic. How would you describe Nick then? Artistic as well, or what's his strength?
Nick these days, no, he's
Well,
not.
from you, because you have skills that you sometimes when you look at people's families, like people inherit things from different places, right? Like what's fascinating to me is when I look through these books and see you're artistic, Charlie's artistic, like her beading
Yeah.
is spectacular,
Yeah.
right? Like it's quite something, and you think, well, where'd that come from? So I'm just wondering, what do you think you've passed on? What's the best thing you've passed on to your kids? Either one of them or both of them.
Well, I'd say I think the most important characteristic to have is to be truthful, to be honest. I think the other is to do something you like in life. We can't push, parents can't push children into patterns that they want. Just because your uncle or your father was a lawyer, you've got to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Maybe you will be, but I really
But
can't.
see, this is week 5
Yeah.
of, you'll notice he's wearing the same shirt, but it's clean. It's week 5, and all of those, the reoccurring theme is you've done what you've loved.
Yes.
Best job you've never had, I think is how you describe it.
Yeah, right.
Is that what you said to me at one point? And it's the whole idea that if you love what you do, then it's really not a job at all, is it?
That's correct.
And that's, I think, a good trait to pass
Yeah.
on. Like with Charlie, what she's doing with beading, and
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say to the students, never get discouraged. There's many times in
even
your
if
life.
times are tough,
Pardon?
even when times are tough.
Even when times are tough, whether if you're religious, you can say God sent it that way. If you're not religious, it just happened that way. Something, but in life, the good comes with the bad, and you have to avoid the evil. On the whole, though, if you guide yourself with those kind of precepts, you'll do okay. You'll
Okay.
do okay.
So just a couple more things. What we'll do is we're kind of wrapping it up. I want to sort of shift. I got a few more things I want to ask you about, and then we're going to talk about what you're doing now in your book. Tell us
Right.
a little bit about your book. Uli, when I say her name, what do you think of?
My
sister-in-law.
My sister-in-law, yeah.
Lifelong friend.
Yeah.
And she's
looked after our children.
Yeah.
A selfless person who cares a great deal about people, and is I would say is a streak of shyness, but a river of kindness, and is a very loving person, and so I couldn't have a better friend than Uli.
Yeah, that was a bit poetic.
Hmm.
A streak of shyness, a streak of kindness. That almost rhymed, but it's very nice. So she's one that's been there for you over the years.
Yeah,
and
for the family, not so much for me, but for all of us.
Well, I can see that in the pictures too.
Yeah.
Right? Cape Cod, and then raising with the kids. Probably had a great time with the kids when they were young. What about overseas family? Do you keep in touch with anybody overseas? Any brothers or sisters? You had a brother, Eric, but he's no longer.
I am Eric.
No, he was Eric too, wasn't he?
No.
I thought he was your Desmond, Eric, and he's Eric Johnson.
No.
What's your brother's name?
I can't even remember a brother.
No. What about a sister? You have a sister, don't you?
I have a sister, Joan, in Manchester. Yeah.
What's she like? Tell me about Joan.
Good.
How would you describe her? If I said, tell me about Joan.
I rarely see her, but she lives in a very nice part of Manchester, a place called Hale. She's got a beautiful home there.
But you don't, maybe you haven't seen her for a while, but you grew up with her. You had shared that bomb shelter.
Yeah.
With the family. What was she like growing up?
Great.
You remember? Would you fight a lot, or did you have fun together?
No, we had fun, and we rarely fought. No.
Are you older or younger than Joan?
Haven't a clue.
No clue. She'll probably say much older. If I ask her,
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
And then
I'm getting to know more about myself through these chats with Gary than I knew, really.
Well, sometimes things get out of your mind because you haven't thought about them for a while. What about other families, members that you have any? Do you have just one sister?
Yeah.
And then you still keep in touch with the Finnish side.
Yeah.
A bunch of them were at the wedding last year.
Right.
Matty was there.
Right.
Who was the family that came over from Finland? There was the couple with the child, and then.
I know.
Was there another sister?
I haven't a clue.
No idea. Okay, we won't show them the video.
No.
All right. What about what you're doing now? Let's talk a little bit about that as we conclude our time here. You're doing a book. Tell me, you're writing your life story.
I'm writing an autobiography, which essentially is the story of and I'm patenting the book in terms of the decades of my life. So I'm now 81, so I've got 8 decades of stories. So it's a labor of joy, not so much whether the book gets sold or not. But I hope it will. But just the life I've led, and I hope it will be a book to be very useful to people, to learn the mistakes I made, and the great joy I've had in journalism, and hope to continue that. Thank you.
What just before we sign off though, what's the name of your book? Do you have a name for it yet? No title. Are you making it up as you think about it?
I don't really have a title.
Oh, so it's just the Desmond years right now. But it's by the decade sounds good. It's all based on your diaries too, right?
That's correct, yeah.
And then you got a bag full of research today from Life magazine.
Yeah.
Kennedy's inauguration and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's right. It's very helpful, Gary. Really, very helpful.
How is it helpful? Just triggering your memory, or more information you didn't
know?
Yeah,
obviously the kind of research material you get, you can't make soup without some ingredients. You can't write a book without checking the facts. And even though I'd say one of the best things to do is what I've done all my life: keep a diary, be religious about keeping a diary, and then you've got the lodestar that you can follow. A diary doesn't lie, you say things in diaries that you wouldn't necessarily say in public. And collect the research. I've done any number of books. I've done many articles.
Well,
I've written for the New York Times. I've written for so many papers, and each time as I moved along in life, I set higher goals and higher goals and higher goals. Certainly, when I got the cover